would generate compassion, naturally, we would have a wonderful world. But look, who are the ones who harm the most? Happy people? What people?
Angry people.
Huh?
Angry people.
People have pain.
Why are they angry?
They're in pain. They're
Because
suffering.
they suffer. So suffering creates aggression, because you feel like the victim, and you feel that you need that energy of anger, and you know, it needs to come out somewhere. It comes out of anger, and then as the victim, of course, you feel justified to do it. That's the problem. So I mean, in your next life, it could be an imprint from this life, but it can also be an imprint from a past life, more backward. But you will keep these positive imprints or negative imprints. You will take them with you. These potentials of a fully complete action. Yeah.
So if my complete actions on this life is good, it doesn't necessarily mean that the next rebirth will be a good one?
Well, even if that seed or that potential that you have created through a positive action, if that ripens, you will be reborn as a human. But we also have like complete negative actions. Like killing a mosquito is a perfect example for a complete action of killing. The intention, the recognition, the delusion, the act, and the happiness about when the mosquito is dead.
Still, let's say generally my actions are good, and the previous life wasn't that good, then next life can be not a good one.
We don't know. It depends of your mind state at the time of death. This is what I said. If a strong delusion is present, you will activate a negative seed, something that fits that mind. If compassion is there, love is there, gratitude is there, patience is there, devotion to the Buddha or to God or to Jesus or somebody transcendental, and you totally trust that this being is taking care of you, then you have positive imprints ripening. There's no clear-cut thing there also. It very much depends on many, many factors. So what did you want to ask? Is that okay? Yeah.
I wanted to know if it's not like stealing a bike, but something like an actual good deed, but that the motivation was maybe questionable, like helping someone with something, but the motivation was maybe impressing someone, or something that person wouldn't have done if he wasn't seen by someone, or something of the sort. But the deed is good, but the motivation was not making this other person happy.
Again, whether the other person is happy or not does not influence your karmic potential.
At all. Like the... Okay.
No.
It's all motivation.
Unless you know from the beginning that it will make him unhappy. Like, for example, it's really, life is very complicated. So that is why it depends on the state of our mind. If we would have to figure out all these situations, we would go mad. So all we have to figure out is our intention. That's all. I can, for example, I know somebody dislikes me, and I want to give him something, and I already know from the beginning he will not like it when I show him kindness. So the action of giving him something, of course, is good, but the motivation behind it, or as I said before, the Swiss pharmaceutical industry, who very generously builds a hospital, but then they need to buy the medicine. So it's also, and also don't forget, like out of one potential is not just one result. Many, many results can follow there. Karma is really, really complex. So, through theory like this and to having this list, it's the intention, the object, we can kind of figure out what kind, whether it's a positive imprint or a negative imprint, but we won't know, because it's one of the most hidden phenomena, so only an enlightened being can see. So in general, what they say, if you want to know what you have done in the past, like globally, generally, because we do, sometimes positive action, sometimes negative. Most of them are negative, actually, when we look. It's very easy. It's very difficult to be totally ethical with a good intention. and being conscious and finishing the act. You know? Wow. So they say, if you want to know what you've done in the past, look at this present body and situation. If you want to know what you're going to have to be in the future, look at your state of mind now. It's kind of simple. One is tired from staying in samsara. Yeah, I wish I'd be tired of staying. I'm still attached to this stupid samsara thing, you know. This is what Khandra Rinpoche at one point she said, you Westerners, you're so clever. When it goes to the emptiness of the eye, you understand it immediately. But then you don't give up the hope that you might still find it somewhere. You know, you don't let go of it could still be somewhere. If one is tired from staying in samsara, one would have renunciation and absolutely no problem. It's the same. Being locked into a toilet. That's what you mean. That's what you need. As if samsara, as if this world is a toilet for renunciation. You understand what keeps you here and you create the causes to get you out. Using the mind of being tired in samsara, you mean, or what? Is it yours? Your question? Yeah. Using the mind, he is working on seeing everything as meaningful. And that would be stupid. I mean, you have renunciation, you're tired of samsara, and then you turn the whole world thing around and think, oh no, but it's really beautiful. My toilet is really beautiful. Well, who on earth would do that?
You're inside the toilet. You
Yeah.
understand that it sucks to be inside the toilet, but
You want to get out.
you want to get out, but it's not like it's, I don't know, a few lifetimes until you get out. Don't
Oh,
you
yeah,
want to enjoy the
horrible.
toilet while you're here?
So what? So you're in the toilet. So you're in the toilet and you say, oh no, it takes too long to get out, so therefore I'm not going out.
So my question was, am I going to, for a few lifetimes, just knock like on the door, let me out, let me out?
What is
Or
the
I'm going
cause
to-
for getting out of samsara?
Sorry?
You know, don't take me so literally. You
Okay.
can't knock on the door of samsara. Samsara doesn't have
It was
walls.
also a metaphor that you all understand that.
Okay.
Okay.
So how would you knock on samsara's door or walls?
Reinitiate it, like I don't
How would
know.
you do? How do you get out of samsara?
I guess that you close your eyes and you meditate day after day all the time inside of a monastery or something.
That will get you out of samsara.
I think that's what renunciation means. It does, like, giving up everything, the body, the friends, the
You cut your
family.
hair, you put on red clothes, you have renunciation.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be wonderful.
Okay.
That would be so wonderful. Not the case. I can be attached to my no hair thing,
Okay.
you know. You work on your delusions. And meditating is not necessarily working on your delusion. People who are very good meditators and who don't have a basis why they meditate. Do you know why they meditate?
Why?
To have bliss.
Okay.
That's their only reason to sit and meditate. Many people do actually. Because it gives you that good feeling.
Yeah.
And power.
And power over the mind. And that is not renunciation. That is attachment. So just sitting and meditating, that's not going to do the trick. Understanding reality, understanding suffering, understanding the causes of suffering, that will get you out of samsara.
It just sounds like it might be better to, while I'm inside samsara, working myself out, examining all the options on how to leave this toilet, to try and do my best to enjoy while I'm still here. As long as
Well, enjoying with doing what?
working on the mind and seeing
Yeah,
everything as
that's
meaningful.
okay.
Yeah, you enjoy more when you try to get out of samsara.
Sorry?
That's okay.
Even when you try to get
If
out
you
of
need-
samsara, you're enjoying it. And if you
The more you
try to
enjoy
stay,
it,
then
the
you
better
don't
it
really
works.
enjoy it.
Did you hear me say that you have to be miserable in your spiritual practice?
Well, no, but
So then it's no. What's the but? Where's the but?
okay, why not all of us live in a monastery? There is some, like, what? There are some blockages.
You
in-
know, the monastery is not renunciation.
Okay.
The mind who is renounced, You know, if you go to the monastery because, oh, life is too difficult, I go to the monastery where they feed me. Nothing will happen. Yeah? In the monastery, you get more instructions, you have more time, but it's bloody hard. I tell you, because you have to follow instructions. You lose your individuality, and you're nobody. And you know, you don't like the food, you think you can complain. That's it. It's like, I'm talking about Thai monasteries where they really live a monastic life. Tibetans don't really live a monastic life. And I'm from the Tibetan tradition. Not many Westerners survive there. It's very hard. Yeah? And you can develop a lot of aversion towards that life. And then there's no renunciation. You go out and have fun again with worldly pleasures. So this is what I mean. What you're trying to renounce is seeking and finding and putting a lot of effort into comfort, fame, or like being renowned, gain, and praise. So what you're renouncing is not so much, you see, when I don't eat too many chips, I don't eat too many chips, I love them. And if they drip with fat, all the better. I know some people go, ugh. Yeah. I tell you, I can eat butter without any bread, absolutely no problem, and I can hardly stop myself when I start. But why do I not do it? Because I get a headache.
Krishna.
Huh?
Krishna, the Indian god.
Krishna, I don't know what. Did he also eat butter?
Eat butter, yes.
Oh, it must have been blue at one point. Anyway, so, or Tibetan, they love butter also. You know, they really like everything. When there's like that much fat on the soup, like, you know, oil, oh, they love it. They scoop it off first. Or they eat the butter tea with that much fat. They go with the bread, you know, and then get first the butter, the melted butter. So anyway. So how did we get to the part? So yes, I don't do it. Why? The chips, I know if I eat too much of those, I get a headache. So I renounce the chips. Why? Because I'm bad, I don't deserve the chips? Why do I renounce the chips?
Because it makes you feel worse.
Because it makes me feel bad. Why would I renounce worldly pleasures?
Because they make you suffer.
Because they don't give me what they promise. Instead of creating happiness, they create dependence, they create wish for more. And that's not peace of mind. Yeah?
But if you combine it with the first part of the question, saying that you're already tired of all these pleasures.
I wish I was.
Okay.
No. I can talk theoretically very nicely, you know. Then when I see that I'm still attached to samsara, it's very difficult to create renunciation. This is why they use this example of a toilet. When we really understand there is no pleasure there, there is something much bigger outside, you know, then we start to look for the bigger thing. So in order, what you say with the pleasures, you see, in order to have, it's good to have worldly pleasures. Because if you never have them, you don't understand spiritual practice. Because you think you're not happy because you don't have all these pleasures. After you have had them, your mind starts to relax a little bit. It's not so full of desire. And then you get a desire for deeper pleasure, which is, for example, the pleasure from meditation, which is still desire. When you get tired of that, then you want the pleasure of liberation. Then you have attained renunciation. Not liberation yet, but renunciation. Renouncing means, Lama Yeshe used to call it definite emergence. I want to get out of here. I'm not kind of lingering around. What example do they use of? Okay, let's say you drowned in the ocean, like the ship sank. You're swimming, and there is a boat coming by, and they say, come on, get in, I'll get you out. And you go, no, it's very nice in here. You know, the weather is perfect, the water is perfect. From time to time a coconut comes floating, I can drink it, I can eat it. I'm fine, I don't need to come with you. That is having no renunciation. Why? Because at the moment, you see, we have renunciation when things go bad. Then we say, I want to get out of samsara. When we don't get what we want, when we're sick, when we're about to die, and we say, life is shit, and all this. But that's not renunciation. Yeah? Then we're fed up, because the moment it starts to get better again, then that's finished with the renunciation. So the Buddhas, if you take that example, we're not afraid of the ocean because there's no storm at the moment, and there's no sharks coming by. So it seems okay where we are. Well, maybe you a bit more than where I am, because you see how life is dangerous here. So maybe you have more renunciation, I don't know. So you can imagine the Buddhas, they're in the helicopter above, and they go, hey, look, could start swimming, because the island is over there. But now we go, no, I'm too lazy to swim. You need a lot of effort to practice. But the joy in the practice is important. And where does it come from? What we do every morning, when we see that this is meaningful what I'm doing here. So one of the 6 perfections, the 4th one, is called enthusiasm. You need that on your path. We'll talk about it when we get there. You don't need to be depressed. When you are depressed, that's not renunciation. You see, okay, there's good things in my toilet here, but still I want to get out. I'm not going to make it more beautiful. I'm not going to spend any time to make my toilet more beautiful. Does that answer your question? Can you detach but develop joy towards existence without reincarnating? Yeah, that's what we would like to have, isn't it? A lot of pleasure without attachment. Can you have pleasure without being attached? Yeah, if you understand the pleasure. This I explained to you. This is why we do tantric practices. In tantric practices, you work a lot with pleasant things, with pleasure. Only when you use the pleasure, because it's easier for the mind to stay with something pleasant, okay? And the mind stays there, and you examine it, whether it really exists from its own side or whether it's empty. And then when you see the emptiness of the object and the pleasure, then you have bliss. But if you start with the pleasure thing in Tantra without knowing anything about emptiness or bodhicitta, renunciation, then it's just worldly playing around. I'm sorry to be so disrespectful, but that's what many tantric practices are about. I asked somebody at one point, I said, what are you doing? She said, oh, we just see each other. So I said, why did you go there? Well, we had problems in the relationship. Okay. So we went there, and then what did you do? We saw each other as deities, and then we had sex with each other. Then I said, what deities? Well, you're deities. No clue, And then I said, and what happened? She said, well, then we separated, and I got together with the guy that I had sex with. I know that not every sexual retreat or tantric retreat is like that. But it can go that way. It can really go that way. If you don't know. This is why they always say, if you want to start with tantric practices, a good understanding of renunciation, bodhicitta, and emptiness. It's called the 3 principal aspects of the path. There's quite a lot of commentaries on that text. Okay, then you can start with, and tantric sex is like, oof, it's powerful. But, the monks who maybe have tantric sex, for many years they have to abstain from sexual practices and train to withdraw the energy when they're about to ejaculate, to bring it back up, the energy. So what they learn is to drink water with their penis. So you can start training that. And then when you can do it, then you can say, now I'm ready. When you have so much, now it's not a joke, when I have so much in control of my sexual energy that I can, before I ejaculate, I draw it back in. You're all grown up, so we can talk about these things. It's part of the human makeup. Then you can think, okay, now I can start looking for a concert. And then the concert needs to be ready also. Is cancer or other heart disease, is it a result of karma from another life? Yeah, most probably from another life, because especially if you have led a good life. if you have led a good life, why would you have such a terrible disease? So it's most probably from another life. I always use that example. If it's only this life, okay? My brother, who was a very good person, very good father, very good person, he always helped everybody. Me, I was totally self-concerned. I was the rebel in the family. I was the alcoholic. But he died of liver cancer at 48. Whereas I was in India meeting all these incredible teachers. So I haven't created the karma in this life to meet these teachers. Because I did nothing good. I was just concerned about my own happiness. And running after pleasures because I had the money to do it. I earned a lot of money with the restaurant. My brother, who was trying to help, and who was very social and, and a very good father, he didn't create the karma to, in this life, to die of liver cancer. Still, even though he didn't drink the alcohol, he got liver cancer. So he had the makeup of his body, which is also part of his like a karmic result to get liver cancer. Me, with all the alcohol, I just got a bad liver. That's all. So for me, if there is a law of cause and effect, it's not possible that it's only one life. Otherwise, it should have been me who died from liver cancer, not him. That's the example that I usually use. So it must be, karma from previous lives that made him die so early.
Is it bad?
Huh?
Why does it have to be a negative karma?
For him to die at 48? What is the result of killing? What is the karmic result of the experience of killing? Having a short life. Yeah. And being very sick also. Sickness and having a short life. So negative karma kind of gets purified or gets exhausted while you have the experience. So then that karmic imprint is finished. Or when you do purification. And this is what we're going to do now if you still have the energy to do it. Long day, yeah? But that's also renunciation. Oh great, another hour. That would be renunciation, the joy that you want to have. So like this. So, when we have to endure suffering, it won't last the whole hour, don't worry. Also, it's 9 o'clock, 5 to 9. How many of you go to bed at that time, usually when you're at home? Nobody? Yeah, so it's okay. Sometimes it feels like very late, but it's 5 to 9. But as we experience the unsatisfactory existence, very often we create more negative karma because we're trying to ward it off. Yeah. Do you see what I mean? But we can purify it. So we go to what we need to purify it briefly, and then we do a short meditation. You see, you're here just to learn these methods a little bit and to get familiar with the structure of the path. That is the reason for this retreat, not to know into detail and this and that, because otherwise 4 days, I would be world famous. If I could give you a 4-day course, you would be perfect Buddhist, you have all the instructions that you need to lead enlightenment. It's impossible. You have to hear this again and again and again and again. So what I said, all you need to do is hear it and then use your brain to figure things out also. And also, there's never clear-cut answer. It's like this, like this. And so this is also what we said before dinner when some people were still here. Said maybe also it comes a little bit maybe from the Jewish tradition where you have the Torah, I think, where you have this problem, then you do that, then you have this problem, you do that. It doesn't exist. In Buddhism there's no tutorial and there's no handbook. It's the methods and then you have to figure it out yourself.